Liseberg is one of those parks that does everything right, from theming to coasters to atmosphere and even the food. But is it actually one of Europe's best parks, or is it just overhyped because it's in Sweden? Let's find out. Well, let's start with the headline attraction then, shall we? And that is Helix. This is one of the coasters that drew me to this park, right? I'd heard so many people saying that this is like Icon on steroids. Of course, it's the same style of ride. It is another Mack coaster with the same trains, but it is a very, very different experience. The queue line is really, really weird. It's kind of the most complicated twisting back and forth and up and down stairs, and it's weird. It's the most strange thing I've ever seen. The ride itself though is absolutely fantastic. That initial kind of drop as you come out of the station, a couple of launches, inversions, it's just brilliant. The thing about this whole park is that it's kind of on that hill, and all of the attractions, especially this one, take advantage of that kind of landscape and they kind of fit around it. So this one, unsurprisingly, is going in that keep pile. They've got some other rides that are a little bit odd. Now one of them is Aerospin, and this, I struggle to describe this one. It's kind of like a cross between a Starflyer and those kind of Zamperla plane things. I don't know what the model's called, I've forgotten. There's one currently at Blackpool, SBNO, in sort of red arrows, and then there's two out at Universal. You've seen them. The thing that I always say, I can't make it go upside down. Well, it's kind of like that and a Starflyer. So you still have the same planes, you still have to try and rotate them, and again, I couldn't get the damn thing to go upside down, but it goes up and then rotates around like a Starflyer. So it's this weird hybrid thing. Again, it's reasonably high up on that hill, so the views up there are stunning. So even though I couldn't make the damn thing go upside down, I did have a cracking view. It was bloody cold when I was there, but it was fantastic. So it's not the best, it's not the worst either, so this one is going middle of the road in that take it or leave it pile. Now, if you've watched the channel long enough, you will know that my partner Carly is a huge fan of wooden coasters. And they have one here known as Balder, or Balder, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it is absolutely fantastic. It is mental, completely crazy. We were there, mainly going to be there on the Saturday, but we kind of snuck in for a few hours on the Friday, and I'm glad we did, because we wouldn't have got on Balder if we hadn't. We did get on it about 4 or 5 times, in multiple different rows, and it is just absolutely insane. Now, bizarrely, I thought the back row would have been where it's at. I sort of did mid-row first, and the airtime on it was just mental. Properly getting flung out your seat, so much fun. That first drop was crazy, and it just doesn't give up. Like violently ejects you out of the seat in a good way. And then I did the front row, and the front row was insane. Like, so much fun, and of course you can see where you're going, right? First time we did it, Carly there was 2 girls in front of us with really long hair, so Carly had just hair in her face, which kind of distracted from it. But then we went on the back row, and I was kind of surprised that that's not where it's at. It felt like it was like more tame in the back, which is kind of odd because the way it was going, the airtime, etc., genuinely thought this would be a back row ride. It is not. For me at least, it was a front row ride, but it is absolutely fantastic. And there's no surprises that this one is also going in that keep pile. Right, at the time of filming, they've just installed this year their new Huss Breakdance 5, I think it is. Now it's called Kraftverket. I'm gonna apologise if you are kind of from Sweden. I'm butchering the names of these, and some of them I'm not even gonna try. But this thing is another stunning flat ride. It's brilliant to watch, it's brilliant to get on. It's quite violent though. It is on a ridiculously aggressive cycle. I lost my shades. I'm kind of surprised they didn't kind of warn me about them. I had them sort of sitting I had my hoodie on, and I had them just sort of tucked in. And then I got off the ride and they weren't there. So they clearly came flying off and I didn't notice. But it is absolutely bonkers. It is, I can't remember how I described it, it's sort of a cross between a waltzer and a twister. Like, it is, the forces on it are insane. The way that they were running it when I was there, it was kind of like the cycle was split in 2. So the first part was, you know, reasonably forceful in that, and then it sort of looks like it's calming down as if, you know, oh, maybe that's it finished. No, then they just crank it up to 11 and absolutely fly around. So it was insane. As I say, a visual spectacle off-ride as well. The lighting package is beautiful, and it's got Valkyria going around it as well, so they've kind of just dropped it right in that Helix, which is fantastic. So listen, you're going to hear this a lot in this video. This one is going in that keep pile. There's a handful of things I did not get on, and some of it was time related, some of it was the time of year that I was there related. Because one of the things I did not get on was Atmosfear. And when I was there, it looked like this was completely closed, like shut down, end off, gone. Looking on their website though, it seems to be seasonal and just the time of year I was there, this ride is not open. And it's a drop tower, well at least it looks like a drop tower, at the very top of the kind of park, right up at the hill. And it looks like an Intamin style one, so it's kind of the similar sort of seats and gondola to the gyro, right? So that's why I'm thinking it's Intamin. But I didn't get on it, and I will be going back to this park for sure because it is in a stunning park. So hopefully the next time I go, this is running and I get on it. If you've been on it though, let me know what you think. Another reasonably new attraction in this park is Luna. Now it's a fairly standard sort of boomerang, and it was pretty good for what it was. I mean, it's not a thrilling coaster by any stretch of the imagination. It is a family ride. And again, situated, everything is just, doesn't matter where you put things in this park, it is just going to be beautiful from a landscaping point of view, from views, etc. The spikes seem to be reasonably decent in terms of height-wise, and I kind of enjoyed it. So, you know, it's not the most thrilling thing, but I think, you know, this park caters to all different categories, from thrill to family to kids, and this one sits in that sweet spot in the middle, and it needs to be kept. Right, there was two things that drew me to this park, and we've talked about one of them already in Helix. The other one was Loke. Now, at the time of recording this, Evictus has been delivered to Blackpool this morning. And I wanted to know what this thing was going to be like before it opens next year, so I went to Liseberg to find out. This gyro swing is absolutely mental. Now, up until this, I had done the sort of rides we have here in the UK, so I'd done Maelstrom. Many of you might have done Maelstrom. It's nearly half the height of this thing. It is absolutely bonkers. To be fair, it didn't look too big until you get up close. I was kind of looking at it going, all right, that's not too bad. And you stand under it and you go, nope, this thing's massive. And it is fantastic. It's got the kind of lap bars instead of the over the shoulder, so it's really comfy. You can get a little bit of ejector if you just, you know, leave yourself a bit of space. And it is fantastic. I got Carly on it. She appreciated it, doesn't think she'll ever do it again, although she said she will do Evictus once, so there's that. But I was in like hysterics. I absolutely loved this thing. The only thing I didn't like, and it's not the ride's fault, again, I was there at a particularly cold time of year, and it was freezing. But you swing out over Rabalder and then over the water, and it is just spectacular. So an absolutely fantastic ride. Totally buzzing to get in one of these in the UK next year. And well, again, it's getting kept. So another flat ride that I have seen but never done before was Mechanica. Now this, if I'm not mistaken, is exactly the same model that Bling used to be at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. A ride I never got on. I think I was in the park whilst it was there, in terms of I took my kids 2012, and I'm sure it was removed in 2014. But my kids were young, and at that point I wasn't focused on me, it was all about the kids, so I never got on it. But this guy I did get on, and it was strange. It was an odd contraption. For the most part, it's more of a visual spectacle than it is to ride, because it looks really cool. And you know, it goes up there and it spins around and it looks like it's flipping. You don't do a full revolution on it at any point. You sort of flip forwards and backwards. And there's some weird bits where you're kind of hanging sideways. But I was kind of underwhelmed by it. So, you know, flat rides are important, I always say that. I'm not going to get rid of it, but this one is going to take it or leave it. Right, so the next one is another flat ride, and again, watch the channel long enough, you're going to know the answer to this one. They've got a set of sort of swings. Now, I can't pronounce this very well. Slänggungan? Swings. Big set of swings. Nothing fancy, just standard set of swings, and I enjoyed them. So, short and simple, they're getting kept. Right, if you're still watching at the halfway mark, do me a favour, can you hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe, because it helps me grow faster than Baldur's Lift Hill. Right, the park obviously has an entire section dedicated to kids. And as is always the case, you know, there's a handful of rides that I did get on, there's a lot I did not. So I'm going to cover the ones that I went on. And one of them that I kind of had heard strange things about, so I had to go and experience it, was their kids' dark ride. Now, it's called Underlandet, which I'm assuming is just underground, and it's weird. I mean, very weird. You see, you kind of go into this room and then there's a kind of fake elevator, a bit like, Subterra, right? So you go in this room and the floor vibrates and the walls move and you think you're going under. You're obviously not. And then the doors open and you're in this other area. And then you get on these, I don't know if they were trackless or not. I can't remember. I've got a funny feeling they're not. But anyway, you get on these kind of cars and you go around, and it's an insanely well themed dark ride for kids. I'm assuming it is based on a TV show over there. It sort of looked like it had all characters that would be appropriate for some sort of kids TV show. But it is just bonkers. Like, there was bits where there was bunnies sitting on toilets with their pants around their ankles, and somebody getting flushed down a toilet, and a guy going through like pipes and stuff, and it was just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. To the point I had to go on it twice. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was just crazy. It's getting kept. Let's get back to the big boys, shall we? Because they've got a B&M dive coaster known as Valkyria, and it's a pretty good one, to be honest. So the park's got this, they've got a free virtual queuing system, which was kind of cool. You kind of have to scramble to try and get tickets, if you will, or get a position on these rides. I managed it on Valkyria. We did it a couple of times. I managed it on Valkyria, and then the guy said, "Why did you do that? We have single rider. Go single rider," which was maybe slightly slower, but still faster than the main queue. Great ride though. Sort of standard B&M dive, you know, slightly slow lift hill, not as slow as Oblivion, but not as fast as Baron 1898. Hang over the edge, as you'd expect, unlike Oblivion, and then dive into a sort of tunnel and do some loops and stuff, and then, as I say, you go around that Huss breakdance and then back into the station. It was pretty good. As far as dive coasters go, it is one of the better ones that I've been on. Not saying it's the best, but it is one of the better ones, so it is also getting kept. Right, the next one surprised me because they've got a roller disco, and you all know my feelings about roller discos, not a fan. But for completeness, I thought I'll do it because I'll be doing a review. And it's the closest to the version at Blackpool that I have seen. Right, so it's not the variant with the weird hump in the middle, because I think they're stupid, I don't like them at all. It's also not the really small sort of travelling one like I did in M&Ds recently. So it's a kind of full-size half-pipe style one, and it was reasonably forceful. It was actually okay. Still not my favourite style of ride, but I'm not going to scrap this one. I'm going to chuck it in take it or leave it. Right, another ride that I did not get on, not so much because of time, and it definitely was operating when I was there, more because it was freezing. It was their log flume. I would like to get on it when I go back, so if you've been on it, let me know what it's like. I cannot rate it currently. Right, another coaster that they have here, family coaster I would say. It's definitely not an extreme one, probably a little notch up from kids, and that is Lisebergbanan, which I'm assuming just means the Liseberg train. Because it's styled like a train, there's sort of like a train station that you go into, etc. The operations on this thing were insane. Like, there was running at least 3 trains, maybe 4, because it's a really, really long track. And as soon as one went out, another one came back in. A couple of things about it. It's got this really cool sort of triple helix thing going on. Like, there's a section where it kind of goes around 3 times. Like, it goes up and under, and it's really hard to explain. But it does 3 loops around the hill, basically. The brakes on it though are absolutely horrific. They are so violent. Like, the second time we did it, we were kind of pushing against the bar in front of us to kind of brace for impact, because it's absolutely mental. You get completely flung if you're not expecting it. Still a good ride though, and still one that is going in that keep pile. Right, you all know me. A cred's a cred, to the point that I've even got merch that says a cred's a cred, so chuck a link in the description down below if you're interested in that. I did the kids coasters. 2 of them, actually. So the first one is, now, this one's Stampbanan, and it's right next to that dark ride that I was talking about. Very, very simple kids ride, nothing spectacular. But again, if you've watched this long enough, you know my feeling about kids rides, kids coasters. It is a great introduction to get them used to coasters for later in life. So despite the fact that I only did it to tick a box in coaster count, and I will never do it again, I'm still going to keep it. The next one, also kids coaster, a little notch up from the last one though, slightly longer, bit problematic for me. So again, going back to that virtual queue that I was talking about, I had a virtual queue for Loke. I've done it a couple of times, but I've managed to snag a virtual queue, And I was like, I've got enough time, I think, to go and do this next one, Rabalder. Rabalder? Apologies, can't pronounce these things. And I went in the queue, and the queue line was torture, right? It was, it's a kids coaster. There's no two ways about it. Kids coaster, and it was some very, very small, frustrating kids. Some of whom were with their parents and therefore were kind of being controlled, if you will. But I had two kids in front of me who I couldn't see an adult anywhere, and they were standing on my feet, they were spitting in the queue. It was not great. And I missed my point. Well, technically I missed my slot for Loke. I didn't. I mean, fortunately there seems to be a grace period at either side, because I went on about 15 minutes late and it still worked. I also went on some early, so I don't know what the threshold is there. But anyway, I almost missed Loke for a kids cred. But it's an okay kids cred. It's a better coaster than the first one. It's longer, it's a 2-lap special. Again, for me, tick box. Not one I will be in a rush to do again. Maybe if the park was dead and there was no queue, I'd consider it. Unlike the first one, which I'll probably never do again. But I'd still keep it because, yet again, it's that kind of next step up for the kids before they get to the big coasters. So yeah, it's gone in the keep pile. And then they've also got a screaming swing. Now it's Uppswinget. It's probably not how you say it. It's a smallish version of a screaming swing. It was not big in any shape or form. It kind of goes out. I mean, again, everything's on the hillside, right? So one side faces out across the hill, like off the hill, but I went the other way, facing into the hill. And the reason I did that is because when it swings up, you're then just facing straight down, which was pretty good. The one thing that was weird when I was there though is that typically when I've been on screaming swings before, the restraints, like if you've done the one at Thorpe Park, for example, Rush, you've got the bar that kind of comes over and then you push it down, right? So it kind of slides over and then the ratchet goes down. This didn't have that ratchet, it just came across, and the height it was at, for me, a gentleman with a little bit of a belly, it wasn't that comfortable. I still enjoy swinging rides though, I've said this before, so despite those restraints not being the best, the views and the experience was pretty good. It would have been brilliant if it had been a larger version, like the one at either Busch Gardens or Hershey Park. Those things are massive. I still enjoyed it, so let's go in the keep pile. There is my summary of Liseberg, an absolutely stunning park in every sense of the word. The ride lineup, the atmosphere, the scenery, everything is just stunning. I'm so glad I got out there and I will definitely be back. There's nothing in my scrap pile. I think that says quite a lot. There's a few attractions I've not done, but I don't expect to scrap them when I do. So if you've been, I would love to hear your thoughts down below. If you haven't been and you want to see what it's like, I'll put my vlog up here and I'll see you over there.